What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Juice, man.
Juice, not live episode.
Not live.
No live hotline this week. I think this would have been a little too much to do a live hotline with.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot going on this week. Lots going on.
Yeah, weird time in our industry for sure.
It's honestly just all kind of snowballing. I mean, we've all been talking about it all year. We've just been waiting for the shoe to drop, if you will. With all the leagues on what they're going to do. We've had two big announcements, but NPFL, National Professional Fishing League, made the first move. So,
yeah, they did. They went ahead and just banned it completely. It is what it is. They made that move, and yeah, man, Bassmaster came out with their restrictions today, and so far on the previous episodes, I know y'all guys have heard us say what was probably going to happen. So far, that's came to fruition, and now we're just waiting on MLF. So Bassmaster put their restrictions on it. Pretty much what we knew was coming. A few other things that I didn't even think about that they did, but for sure we knew that it was going to be one or two transducers. They ended up going with one forward transducer. They did eliminate the 62 transducer, the saltwater transducer, the live transducer, which, hey, I mean, that was I didn't even think about that, but whatever. I guess I'm cool with that. And then what else did they do? I know they talked about
no brakes. Did you talk about that?
Yeah, no crappie brakes. That's
only one trolling motor, only one electronic motors, I believe how it reads.
Yeah. I mean, once again, that's something that was kind of outside the forward-facing sonar deal, but I guess kind of connected with it for sure. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I know, not that I'm on the Bassmaster Elite Series, but for me, I knew I wasn't going to put on my boat. One, because they cost a little bit of cheddar, and two, because I know I'll break them. So that's just something else to go wrong.
I haven't done it either. I mean, they're just expensive, so I'm like, I'm going to hold off.
And we'll break them. We will break them.
Oh, where we fish, I mean, we're always in the timber.
Rough water,
Yeah.
What else do they do?
I'm sending a last-minute surprise guest invite here. Mr. Brad Fuller has hooked us up with it.
Also, 55 inches of screen. I thought they'd do 60, 55 for Bassmaster. That's, reasonable, so they talked about diversifying their schedule as well over there, and trying to go to some different places at different times, maybe where the technology won't be as big of a player. But yeah, man, like we said, as far as Bassmaster is concerned, we pretty much knew. We didn't know the exact details. We kind of knew there was.
Yeah, we'd heard the rumors, and on the NPFL front, we had heard the rumor. It's a small industry. Everybody knows everybody.
The NPFL, which is our main subject of the night here.
Yeah, we got Mr. Brad Fuller in the waiting room. He's in the green room right now.
Yeah, Mr. Brad Fuller in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to talk about that decision. I know
he's probably tired of talking about it, to be honest with you. I mean, he's been on, I think he said he's been on 5 podcasts, but
really,
the whole world. Yeah, I mean,
I know you told me went on Luke Duncan's. I did not watch it, so
they did that. So they made the announcement on Labor Day, and then Luke and him jumped on a emergency podcast. And anyway, I know he did the Serious Anglers. He was on theirs last night, I believe. So we appreciate him coming on. I know he's busy, and his phone's been dinging and still dinging here. He's busy, but we're gonna get him on, ask him some questions, and see what this thing's all about.
Yeah,
bring him right in. Mr. Brad Fuller.
What's up, guys?
El Prez, as Luke likes to call you.
Yeah, El Prez.
The man with the plan. The man with a plan. For sure.
Yeah, a lot of plans, and yeah, man, a lot of irons in the fire for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm sure you know as well as everybody else, or you had at least heard rumors that kind of got out about this decision pretty early on. Was that something that you were aware of, or somehow that got around? You know how things get around in this industry, but really in general. But
yeah, I think all that it really cranked up because we had been having just discussions and just kind of talking to anglers about it and talking amongst ourselves. Nothing definite, more just filling the guys out. And then when we went to ICAST, I had the chance to ask some people who aren't in the NPFL. We talked to industry folks and just asking questions, man, like, hey, what do you think about this? How does this play out? What do you see as second and third order effects? Like, those type of questions. And I think, as we discussed those things and literally, man, every meeting I went into, it came up with every sponsor meeting I had, whether it was a current sponsor or a potential sponsor or someone that we knew wouldn't be a sponsor, but we just wanted to get in front of them and have a chat with them. It came up in every single conversation. So I think people could tell by I was trying to be very political about it because I didn't want to tip our hand. And honestly, I shouldn't say tip our hand. I didn't want what happened to happen, but I'm not real good at being anything other than just kind of transparent. People see right through it, right? I got my hind end whooped a lot as a kid because I was a terrible liar. That's carried on. So I think from ICAST is when it really picked up steam. And, I got several calls from anglers like, hey, man, is this true? Are you guys going to do this? And I'm like, man, we haven't made any decisions yet. And we carried that all the way through to post angler meeting that we had at Saginaw, and then kind of went ahead and pulled the trigger on our decision. So yeah, that's how the rumor mill kind of, I think, manifested from ICAST.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, you had to have some of those preliminary sponsor conversations. Talk with existing sponsors, I'm sure, and hopefully new ones. So I mean, that's that works. They're going to tell their guys, and like we said,
listen, the minute I say things like the minute you say something in an angler meeting, it's public knowledge. So don't say anything in an angler meeting that, you don't think would, if it's a really like double pinky swear top secret, brothers, there's only probably maybe 5 people in the industry that I would have that conversation with and feel confident that it would stay within those 5 people.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like the game telephone you play as a kid. You tell somebody something.
Well, that happened a lot too. Like, hey, I talked to so-and-so who said they overheard you say this. And I'm like, bro, I didn't say that. You know what I mean? And it is, and it's not that they're lying. It's not it's kind of like the old detective, when you talk to investigators and police officers, like they actually heard that, but that's not what I said. You know what I mean? Like they hear kind of with their own ears and not what they want to hear, but you have your own kind of mentality that goes, well, this is what he meant by that. And you say, I heard Brad say this.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's not what I said.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of rumors, I think one thing I kind of want to clear up, make sure I understand correctly from you is, so there was some discussion, when you guys first announced it, first dropped it, there was an angler survey that went out, but my understanding from listening to some other episodes you've been on, that was not an NPFL issued angler survey. Is that correct?
Yeah. We as a company had nothing to do with that survey.
Okay. So that was an independent survey started by some anglers, group of anglers, just to kind of, I guess, in an attempt to just kind of leverage or sway the decision one way or the other.
I think. Listen, I'm not going to question the motivation. You know what I mean? I really, we could have conjecture about why or what the reality is that I was asked if I would be willing to do the survey, and I said no, and I gave my reasonings for that. We can talk about that if you want, but I said, hey, man, it's not something I'm really interested in doing. And it ultimately, not just to sit here and go, I was right. It ultimately played out the way the reasons I didn't want to do it came to fruition, even though we had nothing to do with the survey.
I got you. So, I don't want to dive into why or anything like that. It's more of, again, that was some misinformation, if you will, that was out there. It was like, well, because, I've had some conversation. I know Wyatt has too. People saying, well, why did they do an angler survey if they weren't going to listen to the anglers? I said, well, I don't think that was exactly how it all went down.
And no, it wasn't how it went down. And to just kind of put a cap on it, if you will, or, some clarity.
Sure.
We understood from the beginning that if we did this, it had to be a business decision. Like whether I love forward facing sonar or whatever I thought about it, or anybody thought about it, whatever the business decision route took us is what we ultimately had to do. Right. Yeah. And my concern was that, and I'll be honest, and I've said this publicly now, man, it didn't matter if that survey came back and every angler in the NPFL said, man, we've got to keep it. If that was the case, and I still looked at it and went, man, the best thing for the NPFL as a business is to prohibit the use of it in 2025. That's what we had to do. And my concern was with the survey, that gives the anglers the perception that they have an input into the business decision. And that just simply isn't the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, that makes sense. I guess for me and probably a lot of people from the outside looking in would want to know is, you just talked about it from the business side. So where's the profitable market here for this decision? Is this sponsors coming on board? They're like, oh yeah, I'm all for it. And we got all these pro anglers signing up now that are trying to find a home from the Elite Series or from the BPT that didn't agree with or that don't support forward facing sonar. Like, is all this coming to fruition the way? I guess it's a little soon, but is that, from the business side, is that what you're referring to, or is it other things as well?
Well, I think when you look at your business and listen, man, we didn't build this thing to be a 5-year business, push it off on somebody else or take a buyout. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to build a generational business that I can hand down to my kids. So that changes the game about how you approach your business, right? And when you say long burn, which means it's going to take me a long time to get anywhere in this industry based on how competitive it is and what a really small market it is. So yeah, the crux of the business situation is this. Right now, you've got 3 major entities, Bass, MLF, and the NPFL. Clearly, it's not a secret that we are at the bottom of the barrel on all that, right? We're the new guys. We're establishing ourselves. We're a startup business. We haven't been around for 50 years. So when you look at when you look at what's going on in the industry and you look for opportunities to further yourself, either strategically through marketing or whatever that is, this was clearly, in our opinion, an opportunity to create separation and some divergence from what the other leagues are. And those things came to fruition. And I'll give you an example. And you take Champlain, St. Lawrence, and Saginaw Bay, right? Take the live coverage from all 3 of those events across all the platforms. Take away the stages, take away the backdrops, take away the logos, just put a silhouette of an angler up there and watch them fish. It all looks exactly the same. So we felt like, hey man, the question we ask ourselves, is there an opportunity to create diversity within the viewership of what people will come and watch? Like, and I said this on Bailey's podcast last night, not just to regurgitate. I don't want to sound like a soundbite here and regurgitate the same thing. Ken Duke put it to me in an analogy, the best way. It just very simple, and it made perfect sense to me. And you guys tell me, you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Or you're like, yeah, that makes sense. So Ken said, hey man, what we're really doing here is the same thing. If you live in a town that's got 3 ice cream shops, those 3 ice cream shops only serve vanilla. Like they may put it in a cup, one puts it in a cone, and one just dips as hard dip or something, right? But they're all vanilla. What we're doing is we're coming into town as one of those 3, and we're like, you know what? We're going to start offering chocolate. We don't know if everybody really is going to like chocolate. We don't know if they're going to buy chocolate, but you got to admit that having the choice to have something different could be a good thing. Maybe everybody in that town only wants chocolate, and they all come to your ice cream shop. So what we're doing is we're just creating some diversity in what people can consume, because we are ultimately serving a customer base and an audience and a fan base, a product, and we feel like some diversity in that and what they want is a good thing for the NPFL.
That makes total sense. And that, I guess, for me, that'd be honestly the next question is, do you really feel like this was more of a, I guess, kind of what you explained as far as, we're here, we're going to shake some things up, we're going to change some things, or see how people like it? Because the article I read from the NPFL almost like kind of sounded like it was like this is what we believe is right. Like forward-facing sonar should not be in professional bass fishing. This isn't a business decision, although it is, like you just alluded to. But not only that, we don't believe it should be allowed in tournament bass fishing. So is that the case, or is it more of a business decision?
Yeah, I think the reference you're referring to there is we don't want bass fishing to become an electronic arms race. I mean, that's a fact, right? And look, is it there now? No, not really. But I think the evolution of technology is a natural progression, right? Like technology is not going to stop evolving. And when you go through things like this, man, you have those pivotal moments where it just, for some reason, those memories stick with you. And I was at ICAST and I was watching a guy demonstrate a device that you hook onto the in front of the butt of your rod, like on the front. I guess you could put it on the back if you wanted to, but it was a little Bluetooth device that connected to a turret. And wherever you pointed your fishing rod, your turret pointed with it. You didn't have to use your foot to control the turret.
Yeah.
So ideally, yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, that's out, right? Like that's available. Yeah. And so look, man, I don't want to be the guy who sits and goes, well, you know, so to answer your question, White, I think this is a good way for me to answer that question. Is I believe that like in all sports, and bass fishing is unique from every other sport. I don't care what anybody says because of the playing field, how we operate, pay to play, all those things, right? I believe in 2 to 5 years, there will be more and more regulations on this technology. Otherwise, if you just let it run amok, it will literally render the sport unrecognizable in 2 to 5 years. Like where this goes with AI, the processing power of these units and all those things. So yeah. The question was posed to us, hey, why don't you just like restrict it? Why don't you just say, hey, man, right now? And we very well could have done that. But what's that really changed for us on the business side?
No, it does. Well, it doesn't.
Right. So if I believe that technology is going to have to be reined in and technology is going to have to be limited or restricted at a very high degree in order to protect the integrity of the sport, right? And I believe that. And I'm like, well, I'm in a good position as the NPFL. I'll be honest, man. I kind of think we're the only ones who can really even make this decision, right? Because it's a very pure decision because I don't have to worry about losing revenue because I make this decision, right? Like none of my sponsors other than Sonar Pros is going to leave the NPFL because we made this decision. I do have an absolute opportunity to pitch something different that nobody else can pitch in the marketing. Like my pitch decks have already changed, right? Like we're going at this from a different angle. So I offer something that nobody else can offer right now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So being unique, and if I can force a reallocation of the pie, right? So we have our little piece, Bass has theirs, MLF has theirs. If I can shake that up, I'm not saying I'm going to gain, but I have the opportunity to gain. You know, we had anglers say, well, if you don't have a check on the table, you shouldn't do this. I disagree with that adamantly, right? Like no one cares what you've done until you've already done it. I got a phone call yesterday afternoon from a major conglomerate that owns multiple brands and said, hey, man, we want to come support you because you showed leadership and you stood behind your decision. You didn't hide it behind a press release. You're out there talking about it. You're doing these shows. And we respect that. And we want to support the people that are operating their business that way. They didn't say anything about CPA, CPM, CPV. How many views do you get? They want to. So it's almost a cause marketing kind of deal on them. They want to be involved with the league because of the way we conduct our business. Sure. That's a very powerful thing to be able to bring that to bear when you're doing these negotiations with sponsors. Not all of them care about it, but it is powerful for the ones who get it and the ones who want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's.
No, I can't disagree with any of that.
It's the right move. Like, there ain't no doubt about it. I mean, even from a fan aspect, it's good. From a business aspect, it's good. For all these anglers that are quite literally about to lose their jobs on some of the major circuits, it's good. And I hope that y'all have room to take some of them guys and that you get some big name guys. And honestly, I already know several big names that are probably not just losing their job. Like they're still going to be doing well on the elites or the BPT, whatever they choose to fish and fish your organization if y'all allow or if the schedules allow. And so, and what you already have had. So,
yeah. And that's a powerful thing, man. Like, I have a little spiel I give about, and I'm actually going to, I think it's in the can for an article to come out on my Monday column that I write for the NPFL website. And it talks about understanding from the management and leadership perspective of running this company, dealing with anglers, right? Understanding that every angler has a value to a company, right? Like if you're a superstar employee, you're more valuable to that company than the guy who just walked in the door who's still in HR and doesn't even know where his desk is yet. Like and it's the same thing in fishing, right?
Yeah.
If Kyle Welcher right now, Kyle Welcher as the angler he is, has a higher value than somebody that maybe isn't having the best year. But the difference is you have to be able to recognize that everybody below Kyle Welcher in the AOY points is no less important. They just have a different value. And you can never let the importance of an angler be sacrificed because of their value. You know what I mean? And I think having that in the forefront when you communicate and work with anglers and talk to anglers and do things for your field, value versus importance, right? And I think anglers need to understand that. So that's one of our principles that we kind of operate here on at the NPFL. And I specifically always try to keep that in the forefront of my mind of value versus importance. Like we don't treat anybody any different. I don't care with regards to what we do for them, what we don't do for them, and all those things. Anglers who have more value may get more opportunities, but it's performance-based and they've earned that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's interesting, man.
How do you what is your anglers at, right? Like, what is your maximum limit of anglers in your tour?
Man,
is that going to change, or is that, you don't know?
No, well, I do know because of logistically the way we do things. Like, man, 130 is a lot. Like doing the trailered weigh-ins, the way we cycle anglers in and out of the water. We literally parked every single angler's truck. So the anglers pulled their trucks up to the ramp, and then we jump in their trucks and we drive them and park them. We shuttle every angler to their vehicle because there's no co-anglers, there's no marshals. They have to they come off the water, they tie up their boat. We got to expedite them getting to their vehicle and back. Logistically, 130 is a lot. You know, I was talking to a guy today who was a former FLW champion. He fished the Bassmaster. Now he's in the Opens. And we were talking about some of this stuff. And he asked me that question. I said, man, I'm not going to tie myself down to a number, but it'll be about 130-ish. I don't see it going to 140, but it could be 131, 132, something like that, 133, 134. You know, if we get towards the end and I've got, you know, a top A-list angler who's like, hey, man, I want to bring me and my notoriety, my sphere of influence to the NPFL and help you guys in what you're doing, I can put him in if we want to. You know what I mean? But but we're not going to go to like
number.
Listen, man, I told myself a long time ago, I'm done projecting field size in the NPFL. I thought we had a really, like we started 127. We wanted 130. We went to 127. And there were some anglers that we declined to take for various reasons. So could have we got to 130? I think if we just threw caution in the wind, said, send me a check. Yeah, we could have got to 130, but there were some guys that we just said, hey man, give it another year, let things develop, get your fiscal and your financials a little more solidly, get a better foundation under you, work on your sponsors, and come back and see us next year.
Yeah.
So man, I'll be honest with you. That's a major variable in this. How many anglers show up to fish the NPFL with no forward-facing sonar? How many do it? We're going to find out. So honestly, Wyatt, obviously I feel pretty good about it. Like that had to be a major factor in this decision. But yeah, I think we've got a legitimate shot to get to 130.
So on the schedule front, and this kind of ties into that. Are you going to try to, if your schedule's not already set, it may be set. Are you going to try to kind of navigate around some of the other tours just to accommodate some of these anglers that I'm sure you've had conversations with about jumping in no forward-facing sonar league?
Well, so we do that now, Shane. Like we do our very, very best. And it like, I think Zach missed the first event this year.
Yeah.
He's our only BPT angler. And here's the deal, guys, like, oh, you just want all those big names. Well, yeah, I want, yeah, you know what I mean? Like those are important.
Oh, yeah.
That's an important segment of the business. I also want to build my own stars. I want to bring guys that no one's ever heard of, the Timmy Reams, the Brandon Perkins, the Todd Goads. They're regionally successful. And there's a long list of those, the Will Harkins, and we got some new ones this year, Isaac Peavyhouse, Bailey Gay. And we have to be able to nationally brand our own anglers, but we have to make room for all of them. But dude, here's a piece that people don't really realize. And we have to make ourselves as viable as absolutely possible to every sponsor. So if I have Rod Company A And Rod Company A says, man, I'd really like to get in there with you and kick some money your way and see what you can do for me. But I've got my money invested in Bassmaster also. If I'm on the same weekend as Bassmaster, his sponsor dollars are competing against each other. And that's not good for his bottom line. So I want to give every sponsor every opportunity to be at the NPFL. And here's the other thing, man. We're not stupid. Like, Bassmaster is a freaking monster. They've been around for 50 plus years. They're going to be around for another 50 years. When we've been around 50, they'll be hitting 100. You know what I mean? So they are a monster when it comes to viewership. And I don't want to compete for viewers. I want bass fans to be able to watch as much fishing as they want to. And I want to make it available for them to watch us. So I'm not going to compete with them. Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And another thing about the anglers is, like, bro, that's what we want as a fan base. Like, a lot of these guys that talk about they don't like forward facing sonar, we want to see them competing against all these guys with that. Like, as a fan base, we want to see those guys honestly put their money where their mouth is and show up. And for one, but for two, we want to watch them compete. And
so we are the only league, to my knowledge right now, that has the viability to have, like this weekend, Jason Williamson, Bassmaster Elite Angler, Zach Birds were fishing 150 yards from each other on live together. You have an 18-year veteran at Bassmaster Elite and Zach Birds from the BPT fishing on live at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the prospects of how that shakes out when we start melding the BPT anglers and the bass anglers. And dude, take the labels off of them, right? They're just really, really good anglers, and you get to smash them all together in kind of a melting pot. And then you throw in the guys that are local and regional hammers that can straight up catch them. Like, oh, I don't know, a guy named Gary Atkins who ended up winning the tournament. You know what I mean? Like, that's what, to me, that gets me excited as a guy running a production and the storylines and the content generation and all that stuff. Like, that's the exciting part for me. And I'm really excited to see how all that goes.
Yeah. I think from a fan perspective, though, like, we want to see these guys that are, we want to see them. I know I do. I want to see it. Like, if you're taking a huge stand against forward face sonar, I'm not talking about the NPFL. I'm talking about certain anglers that are taking a huge stand against it. That's the reason that maybe they're not being as successful as they would want to be. Here it is. Let's see.
Well,
that's I'm telling you right now, as fans, they want to see it. They do.
Well, and I think, look, man, every angler has his own LLC, whatever he's incorporated. In some way, he's running a business as well, whatever the three-letter designator is for it, right? There's a lot more that goes on. Like, I guarantee you 1,000,000%, every guy who's made that stand against forward-facing sonar would 100. I think. Okay, I won't say 100%. Most of them want to come and put their money where their mouth is. They didn't get to where they are by backing down and not walking the walk, right? The realization is, bro, they don't dictate where they go fish. Most of those guys go where the sponsor tells them to go. 100%. Like, trust me, I've had conversations like, man, I've tried everything in my power. I've tried to be there. I just can't get the support and the backing. And that's my fault and my problem. You know what I mean? Like, I have to build the NPFL platform and the media monster big enough to where, hey, man, if you want to be here, you got a sponsor, I'll help you find one, right? Like, we go down that road of, hey, man, we've got work here to do to build our platform and our media package and what we do for content generation to be a more viable option for those anglers and those sponsors to get behind the NPFL. Dude, it's already happening. Like, it's happening right now, today, as we speak. And the realization is, man, and I've been trying to figure out how to articulate this and I can't. So it just must be the fact that it's because of the decision we made, right?
Yeah.
Like that. If we hadn't made that decision and set things into motion, bro, we're a better company today than we were yesterday. And it's sad. And because I'm not a cancel culture guy. Like, I don't believe that. Hey, man, if you don't like it, don't look at it. If you don't want to see it, then close your eyes. Like, if you don't want to hear it, plug your ears. I'm not a cancel culture guy. I'm not a ban guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I think in this regard, looking at the environment we're operating in, running the business, and I told you guys earlier, we were talking pre-show, and you're like, don't tell us now, tell us on the show. So here it is, man. Like, there came a point when I was going through this in my mind and working through it in the office that I came to the realization that, man, based on what I see in front of me and based on what I know about fishing and based on what I know about this business, man, I'm to the point where we can't not do this. Like I was trying to find reasons not to do it. And I'm like, bro, like the paradigm switch from can I do this to how can I not do this?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, I mean, yeah, to not just, defend you in a way, but
you can do that. It's mine. I need it. Trust me.
No, but what I'm going to say is I don't see it as a cancel culture thing at all. I see it as you're making a business decision that's you're jumping on an opportunity. I think you're 100% right to do what you did. Now, me personally, I'm kind of like you. I'm a little afraid of the cancel culture, and I'm not a huge proponent of canceling things and limiting things. I think you have to be very careful when you start down that path, but I don't see this as NPFL is all about cancel culture, or they're woke. They're trying to, ban things and, conservationists. No, this was you see an opportunity for your business and your platform to increase revenue for you, to essentially increase revenue for your anglers and give them another platform and alternative. So I don't see it as cancel culture at all.
No,
I'm not for canceling forward-facing sonar. So
I'm not either. I'm not. I don't think it should be banned, but that doesn't change the fact that it was a great business.
I agree with your decision. As weird as that sounds, like I like forward-facing sonar, but I agree with your decision.
Well, and I think here's the deal, man. Like I think if we could sit back and build a utopic state, right? Us three get to dictate what goes on in the bass fishing world for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
The best thing, in my opinion, for the sport. And I'll explain my reasoning is for one to have it, one not to have it, and one do a little something in between. Like to me, that's the best thing for the sport. And here's why. If you're alienating any one of those groups because we all have it or we all cancel it, you know what I mean? Like you're losing viewership. You're losing money spending customers in the fishing world.
Yeah.
If there's guys out there that just absolutely love it and we all ban it, then where's that guy go? Like, where's he going to get it? Where's he going to consume the content? Where's he going? Who's going to click on those ads? Who's going to go to the Tackle Warehouse 20% off ad or the Baitworks 25% off that we run on our website, right? Like you need people viewing, and the more people that view, the more people that participate, the bigger your fan base, the bigger your audience, the better it is. So I don't know how this is going to play out. It's a tough economy. It's a tough world to live in right now, but I do think this might be the best scenario right now.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with that. And you talk about a tough economy, and it is. Oof. I know that like me personally, it's just a whole, it's not just the fishing industry, it's business as a whole, but particularly the fishing industry. Like I got a boat for sale, and I know about, everyone's got a boat for sale, and interest rates are terrible. It's an election year. People are scared, and they have every right to be. And going back to the viewership numbers as well, and this is something that Milliken actually was the first person that brought it to my attention. And then the more I thought about it, it was like, dude, he's so right, because really from a viewership standpoint as a whole, I think the entire industry or someone has got to offer a different product. Because if I'm just being honest, and after listening to him and thinking about it more on my own, there's not one product out there, not one 7 or 8 hour show that I will watch ever, of anything ever. I will never sit down and watch 5 hours, 4 hours. For that matter, you'll be lucky to get 3. A 3 hour movie is hard for me to watch. So this product that we're given, that's hours upon hours upon hours of live, dude, it's not entertaining. It's not. I think as an industry, we're focusing on the wrong things. Is all I'm saying. Quit talking about forward-facing sonar. Yeah, quit talking forward-facing sonar. Whatever. Oh, he's staring at a screen, dude. That's not it. If we're talking about making an entertaining product, that is not. None of that stuff matters about anything, because the most entertaining product that we ever saw was when that 1 hour show came out of all the highlights of a Bassmaster event that came on at Sunday on the Outdoor Channel or whatever day it aired. You know, we got to watch that tournament from start to finish over a course of 4 days. We didn't watch 72 hours of live. We watched an hour show put together, in my opinion, the most entertaining product that we've ever seen as an industry. And I think that the focus is just in the wrong place. Like, I think there's got to be an entertaining product built in to a 2 to 3 hour segment, and whoever figures that out, it'll be like a light switch. And that's just my opinion.
Here's what I need. You know, I agree to come on. Like, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go back and erase all of that. Don't put that. Don't put that in the universe, because, bro, I agree 1,000,000%. And just exit all out. Don't put that in the universe. Just I'll pretend like you didn't say it, because I agree, man. Listen, my counter argument to that would be, and where I think live does have a huge advantage over the 1 hour show, bro. We've learned more from watching live.
Oh,
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like but here's my issue, and I'm gonna make a point against my counterpoint is that only applies to a very small demographic of people, even in the tournament fishing industry, right?
Diehards.
Or when you go to Lake Murray and the elites are on Lake Murray, guess who's glued to Lake Murray? Anyone who fishes Lake Murray are going to watch it, be like, man, he's on my brush pile. Or I didn't know there was a brush pile there. Like, they're watching for a different reason than everybody else. But there are people who view live as a 5 hour education, a 7 hour education, whatever. You know, we do 5 hours. So, but dude, it's crazy expensive to run live for 5 hours.
No, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, it's looking at ways to kind of use economy of force, like make your dollar go further. And like every good business should be doing, being very fiscally responsible. Like, I agree with you, but I do think there is a live element to it that you can't get in a 1 hour show. But you can make that up by having other forms of content around that tournament that we never had before.
Yeah. Right? Or segments of live. Like, hey,
you can't do away with live. I mean, you're 100% right. You have to keep a live element in there.
100%.
Yeah, but you segment it. You segment it and you make it an entertaining product. And to be fair, that was part of the professional angler culture. Like, this, when you're live for 6 or 7 hours, you have no more secrets. And these pros, you watch every single one of them do it on live. When they catch one, they grab their bait. They're not going to, look at this bait. They're going to throw it over the side. They don't want you to know.
It was funny, man. We've got a camera guy, Travis Goss from Fix Productions. He's been with Patrick, I think, on maybe all of his wins. Like, it's just one of those deals. Like, we call him the Big Ginger. He's a giant guy. You can't miss him if you ever see him. Big red beard, nicest guy in fishing, hands down, no doubt about it. So him and Patrick are gotten pretty close. So I think it was Pickwick. Patrick's like, he hooks one. He's like, oh my gosh, Travis, come look at this. Come look at this. Because there was like 50 coming up off the bottom, big ones, with that one fish. Well, Travis is a camera guy. He runs up over the camera and just sticks the camera right on the unit. Yeah. And Patrick's like, hey, bro, I told you to come up here, not the whole world. You know what I mean? Like, and dude, there are still like sneaky stuff, but live has exposed a lot. But these guys have gotten really good at hiding it, even though you're live and you see and hear everything.
Sure,
bro. I see it, man. There's so much that goes on in that regard, and they're really, really good at it. Like sneaky good stuff and the things they do. Like, it's an art form to how they perform on live.
But that's the way it's always, not the way it's always been. That's the way it was before live, you know, and now we're almost forcing these anglers to do stuff like that, which is kind of, if they get caught up in a sneaky deal, it's kind of like makes you look at them different when you really shouldn't have to. And it's just, to me, there's ways to get around that. You know, we've got YouTube and social media. If they want to share something, they'll share it. There's 1,000,010 things that you can literally learn bass fishing on YouTube, and then go out there on the water and try to put effort into it and try to learn.
And but I think viewers are watching that are looking to get to see that. Like, dude, I've been live action. I've seen guys screenshot, like when the camera pans.
Oh yeah.
Like, enhance. You know what I mean? Like,
Try to
hey,
zoom
man,
in.
Yeah,
like,
mainly on their graph, on their waypoints.
He's got a red dot on that jerkbait. I've never seen that before. Like, I've scoured the internet. Like, yeah, bro, he probably took a freaking magic marker and or a paint marker and put a red dot on it. Like, you know what I mean? And that can have nothing to do with anything other than he likes a little bit of red on his bait. You know what I mean? It's funny, man. Yeah, but I'm with you, Wyatt. I agree that we are, we just brought Ken Duke on. He's Rain Man of bass fishing. Like, hey, who got third in the 84 Classic or whatever? And I do it to him all the time. I'm like, hey, what was the winning cumulative weight for this tournament? And he's like, oh, it was 113 pounds and 4 ounces, Brad. You don't know that? But when we look at Ken is heading up the revamping and what we're calling the new NPFL, right?
Yeah.
Here's the magic for us. This is going to determine success more so than how people react to forward-facing sonar. The NPFL in its current construct is an awesome tournament organization. Like, we feel like we run one of the best tournaments. We feel like we got the best angler relations, all those things, right? Guys smile when they come across the stage. Like, it's hard to describe until you've been there, but everyone who comes here feels it. You can't manufacture that feeling that you can give an angler who just spent $5,200 and didn't win any money. Like, they got to feel good about it, even though they sucked that day on the water.
Yeah.
We've done that, right? Check that box. What we have to do is start disseminating content to educate and engage the consumers and our audience.
Yeah.
We need to take the audience and make them NPFL fans, and you keep growing your audience. And as you pick those audience members off and you make them fans of the NPFL, that's where you start to build your fan culture. Like, look, dude, there's people who have Bassmaster Shield tattooed somewhere on their body.
Yeah.
I haven't seen an NPFL one yet, right? So, like,
not yet.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, when you start to get into that kind of tribal mentality. Yeah. And
I bet you there's not an MLF one out there either. There's probably some that are close.
Dude, I don't know, man. I'd take that.
Floyd's got one.
I bet there is.
Oh no, man. Maybe MILF, but I don't know about MLF. I don't know.
Yeah. So, man, there's a lot, like you mentioned it earlier, Wyatt. Like, I think there are going to be multiple factors that determine the success of failure around the NPFL, maybe even beyond us not having forward-facing sonar. I don't think us simply banning forward-facing sonar makes us a slam dunk to be around for 2 more years, right? Like, I certainly don't feel that way. I know Mike and Kathy don't feel that way. Ken Duke does. There are a litany of things that we have to continue to build and grow.
Sure.
In order to take advantage of the situation we put it in. If we simply sit back and go, hey, boys, we did it, pat us on the back, tell us how great we did, dude, that's not us. You know what I mean? Like, we're probably more focused now on all those other things because we see the opportunity. Like, we didn't know how this was going to go. Like, we knew it was going to be polarizing. We didn't know if anybody would be like, like, oh, look at those woke guys, cancel culture, canceling all that stuff, whatever. And I chuckle at that because anyone who really knows me is I'm probably the absolute polar opposite of that. But now that we're here and we're seeing, dude, we've sold more merchandise, I think, probably in the last 2 days off of our website than we probably have this year.
Wow.
Like, it's, dude, and the emails on top of emails. I think Michelle told me like yesterday we got like, and dude, this isn't a big number. And I know somebody in another place would be like, that's it. Dude, we don't get these. We had 37 or 36 emails that said, hey, I appreciate you guys taking a leadership role, and whether I agree with it or disagree with it, thank you for making a decision and standing behind it. And they went to our store and they bought something. You see the email and then you see them. We just want to support you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And dude, that caught me by surprise. I didn't really.
I'm glad to hear that. We often encourage people on this show. I mean, if you're a fan of the sport and there's something you want to support, I mean, show a little support and buy a hat, buy a shirt, buy some merch of an angler, of an organization or whatever, a brand that, you want to support, especially non-endemics. We're always encouraging people non-endemics, man. If you see a non-endemic involved.
And I'll say, man, like what means is so valuable for us. If somebody is in your audience and they're like, man, I can get behind this, right? Yeah. Like, based on hearing me speak, or if they agree with us and they're just they're just diehard forward-facing sonar, came out of the womb with devil horns and a forked tail. If you believe that and you want to support the NPFL, dude, go to Baitworks, place an order, and then in the comments say, I'm here because of the NPFL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah.
like I'm not, dude, listen, buy all the t-shirts and NPFL hats you want to buy. I appreciate it. But that right there is that cause marketing that you can't manufacture it, right? You've got to be doing the right things. And that would mean the world to us if our fans went and your fans and audience went and did that.
So you guys gonna make some like radical anti-FFS merch to sell?
Dude, I strictly I put the moratorium on. I was like, I don't want to see any of that shit. I don't want to see any of that stuff because it's not accurate, right? Like, here's the reality. I've got a Phoenix PHX sitting out there I've only got one transducer, but I got 86 16s on it. You know what I mean? I have two of them. When I go to my little lake here beside the house, guess what? I'm going to be on it using it 100%. Like, and I think people are like, that's so hypocritical. I'm like, it's not, man. Like, we're not anti-forward facing sonar. We're pro business and we're pro keeping this train rolling. And I'm not saying like when anglers, you can use it any other time than when you're in official practice and in a tournament. Like anglers are not going to take this off their boat. Anglers are not going to stop buying it.
How are you going to police that? Are you going to make them take it off before they hit the water?
No, we've got a it's similar to what the TAA guys did when they had that tournament on Lanier, like working with those, like it's not even, they didn't invent it. Like if you're in a business and you want to lock down a server or a Ethernet cable that you don't want anybody to be able to plug into, there's a mechanism that just encapsulates it. And then we have serialized anti-tamper seals that you put around that have a serial number on it. So Wyatt, your number today is 124567. When you come back into the day, like at the end of the tournament, we install it or you install it. You come back, we check the serial number. Yep, it's still intact, and then you're good to go.
Safety seal is still on.
Yeah,
got it.
That's good. Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to ask you something here before we get off on this, but so you talked about the long burn, you talked about the future, and you said the work's really just begun as far as, we're not done yet just because we made a decision to eliminate forward-facing sonar. You've had to have given this a little bit of thought, right? So there's a big youth movement, right, in bass fishing. It's growing faster than ever. College fishing, high school fishing. The next generation is coming, right? And they're all savages with forward-facing sonar. So how are you guys looking to continue to grow and continue to gain new anglers? Because if I'm being honest, I think that could be a challenge. It's going to be an uphill challenge for the stance you've taken is how do we attract the next generation, the younger guys, to come join our league, even though they may be participating in high school and college tournaments that they're using the technology.
So I will disagree with you, Shane, a little bit. Yeah. I don't think they're all savages with it. I think there's a lot of really good guys with it, but demographically or analytically speaking, I guess if you looked at the percentage of kids who have it versus the amount of kids who don't, sure, high school anglers, college anglers, they all have it, right? Yeah. Dude, I think we're going to showcase this again. You can run it back and go, Brad's an idiot, he was wrong, but I think we're going to showcase some guys who come into fishing who learned to fish with grandpa flipping the bank or dad flipping the bank. Mm-hmm. Those anglers are being taught by, there's a large population of people, I believe, that aren't as in the forward facing sonar as the pro forward facing sonar guys want you to think.
Sure.
Dude, I could be wrong, right? Like it's undeniable. Like Trent showed me numbers, the money that these high school anglers spend. I mean, a high school tournament has the 480 teams at Hartwell last year. It's undeniable that movement is happening. I feel like those anglers are going to get the fatigue of it as well, right? Okay. Like dude, the unknown variables in front of us are exponential. We can't even think about what we don't know yet about what's going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years. Yeah. And I just believe that there's enough guys. And think about it this way, man. If you let's take because I think he's the coolest dude in fishing right now, to be honest, Tyler Williams, right? Love what he does, how he does it. Like, I think he's super cool. Like, I'm a fan of his, right?
Yeah.
That dude is going to go through his career pounding forward-facing sonar. I promise you, if Tyler Williams came to the NPFL with that 3/4 ounce jig and the 5/8 ounce jig and white and green pumpkin, he would be a player in the NPFL. And I think sooner or later, everybody at some point may end up going through some iteration of the NPFL. I could be wrong, but I'm betting on it.
Gotcha.
And that's a lot of conjecture, man. Like, I have no I have no data to support that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just looking at how things are going. I don't have a crystal ball, man. Like, hell, dude, this could be the end of the NPFL. I've seen that comment enough that, hell, man, I'm kind of starting to believe it. Like, it's the end of the NPFL. It'll never exist because they banned forward-facing sonar. Hey, man, in life in general, when you're going down a decision metric of whatever you're trying to decide, whether it's a family issue, you're purchasing a new car, whatever, you better have both eyes wide open and be willing and able to not only look at both sides of the coin. Well, I believe this. Okay, but what if that isn't true? You better at least acknowledge there's a possibility that there's an ulterior or a secondary outcome.
Yeah.
And I think we've done that. And we're betting on the fact that we're right. Again, we're going to find out.
Yeah, I think if you make a big enough, splash here, which obviously you did, just with the change, and you find a way to make a more marketable product from the industry in general, from a viewership standpoint, and you make changes in that regard, and they're big changes, and you make a splash. The kids growing up watching, they'll see that, and I think they'll come along anyways. So,
well, let me put it to you this way: do you guys know what a stretch goal is?
I'll say again.
You know what a stretch, like if you stretch out a rubber band, it's called a stretch goal, right? A stretch goal is something that you mark on your wall and you go, man, that's what I think would be good, and that's what I really want, but I just don't know if it's quite attainable. But you never stop striving for it. Here's Brad Fuller, President NPFL. Here's our stretch goal. And this fixes everything we just talked about. How do you get every angler in fishing to beat your door down to let them go fish? Bro, I don't care if we make them wear pink tutus and roller skates. How do you get every angler? I say, guys, you can come fish with me, but you got to put on a pink tutu and you got to wear roller skates on your boat. How do we do that?
Yeah.
You know the answer. Like, what is it?
Money.
Shane? 100%. I'm not in this to be a freaking millionaire, bro. I've got everything in my life I need. I've got everything I want. I got 2 beautiful girls, a beautiful wife. We got our dream home on our farm. I've got a great retirement. Michelle works really hard. I'm not here to make millions of dollars. I want to be comfortable, right? I think because of the way we run our business, we're going to be the league that can. My goal is to make the payout so stupid that every angler has to go, man.
Love it.
You can't beat you. The only way to do that is by having the most ridiculous payouts. Back in the old FLW days when Walmart was involved and they're paying out $1 million and all that, we'll never see that again. Like, I just don't think we'll ever see it. But I think my goal is to get us the close back to, because dude, you ain't got to go all the way to there to have the best payouts in bass fishing right now. Yeah. Right? You don't. Nope. And dude, but again, that's a stretch goal. Like that's super hard to do and super hard to contemplate. But if we were able to do that, we would own bass fishing. I don't care if bass has been around for 600 years. If we build the absolute best payouts, if we
100%,
if we treat anglers the way we currently treat them, if we keep the feel and the culture of what we have right now, and we have awesome payouts, it's over. Game over.
Yeah.
NPFL wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't deny that 100%. I mean, that's the answer. That's what everybody's after. I mean,
and we'll look back on something like this, Shane, and go, man, that was a tough decision. And the biggest, like in the first line of my press release, I said, man, after many sleepless nights, and I want your audience, because I don't know if they've watched anything else to understand this. Those sleepless nights weren't because I wasn't sure about the decision. Those sleepless nights were because of the Mike Corberleys and the Will Harkins and the numerous other guys that are forward-facing centric anglers. Yeah. That I knew I was going to be doing something that was going to hurt their business and not be good for them. That's what I lost sleep over. Sure. So, it's business, it's reality. I hope some or all those guys come back with us because I think they're awesome people and they got awesome families and I'd like them to be here. But I understand that they have to make it a business decision as well.
Sure.
Understood. We appreciate it, man.
Man, I mean, all great answers. Like I said, in kind of in the middle of the show, that I don't disagree with your decision. I mean, I think you made the right business decision. Is it what I personally enjoy doing fishing wise? Not necessarily, but man, I think you made the right call when you said that we wanted to give ourselves the opportunity to be the first ones to make this move. I mean, I think that's huge. So
Yep.
Awesome.
We appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna turn you loose. We know you've been potted up. I would be surprised if you have another one on tonight. So
Well, dude, the next guy you've got on, are you going to get your special guest on?
He has. I hadn't seen him jump in the studio, but we got one of two in here. We got a couple guys on that are gonna kind of give their.
He did say that if you would text him when you're ready for him to jump on.
Okay.
He's probably doing drywall right now for his buddy. So he'll tell you about that. That's what he was doing today when I called. I was like, bro, your buddy can afford you to do drywall. That's insane.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, man,
that'll work.
Mr. Fuller, we appreciate you. And I mean, I'm going to be watching. The NPFL. Got to see how it goes down next year.
Everybody loves a train wreck, boys. Come and watch.
All right,
appreciate you, man.
All right, guys. Be good.
See you.
That's cool.
All right.
I do want to come on the record and say that I'm not, for all the cancel culture people out there, I'm definitely not saying that I want to get rid of live. Okay, I'm just saying there's a better way.
I don't know where you're going with that there, brother.
I'm just saying there's a better way to do it, period.
Yes, fishing, the point you were trying to make is fishing is kind of boring to watch.
It is extremely boring to watch for
the argument of, watching somebody use live scope is boring. No. It's just boring to watch people fish. I mean, we're like hardcore obsessed with it, but I don't want to go down that tangent because we just had Mr. Brad Fuller on, president of the NPFL.
Yeah, this episode is wrong.
He's a brave man. He's been doing a little PR, running the roads of all the podcasts in the fishing world. But we wanted to have on a couple anglers. I know we got one. I'm going to text the other one. And I kind of wanted to get both sides of the fence here. And so I'm going to bring him on, Mr. Will Harkins.
What's going on,
guys?
How's it going? Can you hear us good?
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Good, man.
Perfect. How's it going?
We're good, man.
We appreciate you coming on. We wanted to kind of hear from some anglers that are in the NPFL. So kind of give us a little background. I mean, how long have you been fishing the NPFL? Where'd you start? How'd you get there? All that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my second year of the NPFL.
Okay.
I grew up bass fishing like everyone does with my grandpa, my uncle, and my dad. Started in the trout streams, just catching trout, after school. And then my grandpa, took me out on his boat. And so I would always fish we call it the old man derbies. Every Thursday morning, I'd skip school half the month and go fish with him on the Thursday old man derbies. There wouldn't be but 6 or 10 boats, but that's how I grew up fishing. And that's really what got me into it. My sophomore year of high school, the high school created a fishing team. So I did that for a couple years and then went to Young Harris College, fished there for the entirety of my college. And then hopped in the NPFL like last year, which was my senior year of college.
Nice. And you won one this year, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep. The first event at Logan Martin.
There you go. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. It was fun.
That's badass.
Yeah, I don't know how much you caught of Mr. Brad Fuller on. We had him on before you, and we wanted to kind of get your take on it. I mean, we're just gonna have a few anglers on tonight, you and one other guy, which I still do not know who that's gonna be. Shane does, I don't. But
I'll message him right now. We'll see what he says.
Man, specifically, I saw a comment that you made, and on social media and stuff. I think you might have even liked it. I shared it to somewhere else because I thought it was interesting. But at the time, I didn't know that it wasn't like a league survey, and it was an angler-led survey. So really, not that it honestly, after talking to Brad, kind of more of a business decision, anyways. But I guess from that perspective, like if it was an angler led survey, was this like did everyone in the NPFL get to vote on this, or do you know, or how many votes were on that survey? Because I'm kind of confused now about really kind of how it came about and the stats on it and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to kind of precede that with, I totally support and respect the NPFL. Brad, Paul, all the staff, they do an incredible job. They've made it to what it is. They've made it where they put the anglers first, and the atmosphere is, incredible. There's nothing like it. I have fished Toyota, I fish MLF, PFLs, Bass, college, high school, whatever. NPFL has the best atmosphere, hands down. So that is nothing against any of those guys. The NPFL made strictly a business decision on this, and it was smart on their part. They are getting a part of the industry who have been disgruntled over forward facing sonar and capturing a lot of the audience. So it was a great opportunity for them. So just strictly from a business sense, that was a very smart decision by Brad. Now, in regards to the survey, that was an angler-led survey put out by Trent Palmer. I believe 100 out of the 118 guys answered on that survey. And I don't have the exact numbers here in front of me. Like 63% were for it, 23% indifferent, and 14% were against it. And there were multiple other questions on there with multiple answers, and guys kind of was able to free type and share their point of views on how they would like to see this proceed. But like I said, at the end of the day, it was a business decision. And so while, yes, it was disappointing to see the anglers not have a little more input on that, they still made the best decision that they felt. And it may turn out to be the best decision NPFL ever makes. So for the long term, we don't know yet, but for the short term, like I said, while disappointing in some ways, it was a smart move.
Yeah, I can see that I know if I was in your shoes with, I'm sure Shane would agree with the time that we've put into the technology, which I'm sure you're in that same boat. It would be very frustrating if I was in an organization and they did that. But on the flip side, I'm with you in the fact that, especially after talking to Brad, it's undoubtedly the best decision for the business. At the end of the day, they are running a business. It does, and he even voiced that opinion towards the end of the show. And I think he might have even brought your name up and said that he did. That was the sleep he, when he in the article he kind of led with the after countless hours and sleepless nights, and I'm sure you're one of the guys on his mind. So, man, I can see that. It would definitely that would be hard. That would be hard for me if I was an angler in the league at that time, for sure. But I think at the end of the day, and I'm sure you can agree, Will, that a business decision sometimes it's not going to affect everyone in a positive light.
Yeah, especially a tough decision like that. On not to get too personal with you on your sponsor fronts. I mean, do you have any sponsors that kind of are forward phase, like Garmin, for example, or Sonar Pros, or something in that realm?
So no, I am new to this. 2 years into the NPFL and into the industry. So I'm sponsored by ARC, so I receive some of their equipment. That's about the only fishing sponsor I've got. Gotcha. I've got Legacy Tackle Company, a little company out of Arkansas, that we do some things with. But outside of that, I have zero other relations in the fishing world.
Yeah, and I was just curious from that standpoint. And I think he also mentioned it might open up some doors, and I'm kind of curious if it does. And I'd love to stay in touch with you and just kind of hear from you. And I'm sure we'll circle back to this, but how that, if you do choose to stay with the NPFL, I'm not asking you, putting you on the spot to make a call right now. I know you guys still got 2 tournaments left, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. If you do see some benefit to that, I'd just be really curious to see on the angler side, like, are there going to be companies or companies that you're working with now say, hey, look, if you choose to fish with the NPFL again, with no forward facing sonar, we're willing to do, X, Y, Z. So is that something you're going to kind of pursue, or I mean, how do you feel right now?
I mean, like I said, I'm still learning the game, learning how there's a whole other side of bass fishing than fishing.
Sure.
It's all about relations. It's all about marketing. It's all about, who you know. So still learning that. Obviously I would love for doors to open, and I think down the road they will. It will for everybody. So the longer you stick in the game, the more people you know, the more relations you build, and that's basically all it is. At the end of the day, is all a relationship. So I think time allows for that for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. What led you to the NPFL? You said you fished all over the place. What led you there? I mean, I know for Shane and I, he fished the Opens last year, and I fished the Invitationals last year. There's so many options out there. What led you to that decision after fishing all over the place?
Yeah. So the short answer, I'll give you a short and long answer. Short answer was 100 grand on Lake Lanier. I mean, that caught my attention. I love Lanier, one of my favorite lakes. So that's what really got me to look that direction. And another NPFL angler, Rob Rabluski, he kind of took me under his wing when I was in college. And so we went fishing a time or two, and he's like, hey, you should check out the NPFL. And at the time, I had a 2005 boat. This was 2 years ago, like days before sign up. A 2005 boat, never, I had one graph on the boat. Never even, I had fished BFLs and stuff like that, but never seriously. And so I looked, I was like, man, that's a lot of money to put up. And B, I may get my teeth kicked in all year. But I'm a big believer in there's a plan for all of us, in Christ. And so, when doors are meant to be open, they open. And so the amount of things that fell through at that point to get me into the NPFL is amazing. Things that I would never would have thought happened, and that allowed me to pursue that. So I made a big jump and started and signed up and made it through the first year pretty well. And so I'm excited and hopefully here to stay.
So you first year, this year, second year, and you got a win this year. So that had to feel really good to look back at what you were just talking about, kind of taking a leap there and things falling into place, and then a win comes. So I can't imagine how good that felt. What is that? I probably should know this, but what does a win pay in the NPFL?
100,000.
100,000
and a
That's
badass trophy.
Yeah,
Yes.
a giant shield.
That thing is awesome.
Yeah, that thing's heavy.
That's sick, dude.
Man,
Yeah,
so
man.
I mean, are you feeling like you're gonna, just kind of finish the season and go from there? I mean, what's the future hold for Will Harkins? We probably need to have you back on after the end of the season.
Yeah.
But,
and it's a year by year decision. You've got to kind of reflect back and see, where you're at and where the growth was, and where the finances are going, and kind of go from there. I've got to cash checks to fish. So the last 2 years have been well. And so that's allowed me to kind of build up and be able to afford multiple years of this. Sure. And so for now, if I had to make a decision today, I would gladly come back to the NPFL. Whether that's fishing the NPFL and the Invitationals, or NPFL and the Toyotas, or some mixture of multiple leagues, I don't know yet.
Sure.
So that'll definitely be something I look at. But regardless of what the sonar is, regardless of that, you can't replace the atmosphere and the home feeling that the NPFL has. And so that's truly why we're there, and they allow us to make an impact at each of these events. We have that community outreach day. And so those are the little things that truly separate and make the league what it is.
Nice.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear, man.
Yeah.
Well, man, we just wanted to get some angler perspective. I think we've got one more guy in the queue we're going to bring on, but Will, we certainly appreciate your time.
Yeah, we'll have
Yes,
to have you
sir.
back on and see where you're at with everything, and see how the sponsor game looks, and
Yeah,
that'd be
absolutely.
very interesting. So if you're willing
Yeah.
to come back on, we'll definitely have you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
All right,
All
man.
right, man. Well, we appreciate your time this evening, and good luck the rest of the season. We'll be watching.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Take care. Bam.
Who's our guest, bro? Who's our next guest?
Oh, hold on.
Is it John Cox or not?
Maybe. Let me see.
Jesus,
Ready?
dude, I feel like we need to have him on for a whole episode.
I know.
man.
We got to tell him that, though. I mean, let's be a little like, hey, man, we've been meaning to message you anyway. We don't want to have you on, disrespect you, and have you on for 10 minutes.
Is he Zoom linking this, or are you calling?
I sent him the link. I emailed him the link, and I texted him. You heard Brad. He said, text him or whatever. He's hanging drywall for a buddy. So we'll see if he jumps in. If not, no big deal. We understand he's a busy man.
If not, he owes us a full episode.
Oh, we're gonna get him for a full episode anyway.
Wow.
We're gonna get him for a full episode anyway.
Honestly, I'm talking to Will. It sounds like obviously he didn't really like the decision,
No.
but he understands. And he's
Man,
got a
I
good
think
attitude
I mean
about
everybody's
it.
gonna have an initial reactions, a little shock value there for sure. But man, you talk to Brad, he's seems like a solid dude, and I mean he's 100% right. Like, how does he not make that decision? That's his best shot at making the NPFL, and they're going to have all the eyes on him unless MLF does something major. But I think everybody's going to kind of watch. I mean, that's the reality. It is what it is. It was a big decision for the NPFL. So, and it got a lot of eyes. It got a lot of attention. I'm sure they saw that in their social media. Like you said, they sold more merch in the last 3 days than they have all year. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that was.
I mean, that's pretty freaking cool.
Not only that, but I think he understands that in the professional realm of bass fishing, it needs to be done, and I'm in agreement. I think there needs to be a league without, and then the rest of the leagues can restrict it.
Doesn't mean we're going to fish it.
Fish what?
I don't know. Would you jump in it?
Fish what?
Non-forward facing sonar league.
A whole
How
league?
do you feel about that? Yeah.
Like the NPFL is what you're saying?
Yes.
For 50 what?
$5,200 a pop. Oh, hold on. We're gonna do this here in a minute. Special guest.
Wow.
Man. Dude, we
Come
were just
out of
talking about
nowhere, an hour and 13 minutes into the episode. How the hell do we got this dude at the end, bro?
Brad Fuller pulled some strings for us. Man, we've been meaning to call you or text you or see if we can get a hold of you to have you on for a full episode. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance for just having you on to talk about the most over-talked about subject in fishing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all good. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, man, we gotta have you on. Gotta have you on for a full episode, though. It has to be done.
Yeah, just let me know when, and we can make it happen.
All right.
Hell yeah.
He said you were hanging drywall. Is that true or false?
Yeah. So I actually I got home and Keith's got a new place and he's helped me a lot at my house and stuff, and I figured I need to go over there and help him, and sure enough, that's where he's at. We were mudding seams all day, and Keith is so particular and he's so good at that, and I'm like the guy that cleans the shield off, cleans the sprayer out, wipes down stuff, and yeah. So I was over there mudding some seams, and I know he was probably, when I left, he probably went through and redid them all.
Yeah. Cleaning up after you.
Yeah.
That's freaking funny. Well, we had Brad Fuller on. And we had another NPFL angler, Will Harkins, to kind of talk about the decision and stuff. And, after talking to both of them, it's really interesting. Brad talked about it being a business decision. And after talking to him for a while, I honestly couldn't agree more. And then after talking to Will, he understood, not that he necessarily wanted it to be that way, but he did understand it. And he also preached about how, he said it, mentioned it a couple of times about how the NPFL is such a good ran organization, and environment and the atmosphere that the show they put on. So,
Right.
you know, we just want to get your thoughts about all that. And, you know, because obviously you've fished the NPFL for along with Lord knows what,
Fished everything.
Yeah.
everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of your take on the news and how you're feeling about everything.
You know, I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm honestly, I've been looking at a lot of different options. Like, you know, halfway through the season this year, you know, I was thinking at first I was like, hey, I'm gonna get these shirts and you know, and I was gonna sell them for extra money.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So like I've been thinking all different kinds of stuff, and you know, I've been leaning towards fishing some redfish tournaments. You know, just to change it up because it's just, you know, catching them. I mean, this has been my worst year I've had probably since like 2012 ish, you know. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's been okay, but it just hasn't been, it just hasn't been profitable as normal. And so I've been looking at different options, and I'm excited now that they've gone. You know, it's going to give a lot of guys. You know, this is. I mean, there won't. You can't complain anymore. You know, if you want to
Yeah.
fish without the sonar, come over to the NPFL. You know, if you want
Yeah.
to fish with the sonar, you know, you can go fish it somewhere else. You know, and so yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it was a good call, and there's a lot of guys that are. You know, I mean, we're gonna have a blast next year either way. You know, so
Oh, no doubt.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
gonna be
So
a lot of
is it true
fun.
you don't have one on your boat, right?
No, I kind of refuse to use it. I like, I know, I mean, I look at it at, you know, I've had a lot of tournaments this year where I'm like, wow, you know, if I would just not be stubborn and put it on, you know, like I'd win this tournament. Like I already
Yeah.
know like what I'm doing, and like, you know, not being able to see 100 feet in front of me. Uh, but yeah, but I just, you know, I don't know. I just, uh, you know, I just don't. It don't. To me, it just feels a little weird using it, you know. And I mean, I've been with Keith and stuff and used it and stuff, and I don't know. I just, I don't know. I just like the, you know, fishing, you know, normal where it's kind of. I like the unknown about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's what drives me every, you know, every day. It's like, you know, it's like, are they here? I don't know, you know, and you fish for them, and so that's what I enjoy. I mean, but I don't use any sonar, so I don't like. I don't have. I mean, I have a side scan, but like, you know, I'll use that every once in a while, idling or whatever. But like, I don't use like the 2D or anything. I kind of, I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
honestly,
I just don't care
I
about it.
mean, I don't think anybody doesn't enjoy watching you though do your
yeah,
thing. So
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
yeah. I think it's like like I don't know, almost like when I've had conversations with people, and you know, how we just talk it among each other in the fishing world, but like it's almost like I don't want to say you're the exception, but like you're
mm,
definitely like the one percenter. That's
yeah, yeah.
like,
When you say you didn't have a great year, 22nd AOI is really not that bad on the elites. I mean,
yeah,
right.
it's
especially considering
It just, yeah. I mean, it's not that I shouldn't complain, but it's not. Like I feel like I've progressively every year I've learned so much more and gotten so much better. You know,
yeah,
so like the way I feel like I fished this year was I felt like it was really good. You know, and it just doesn't. You
didn't
know,
reflect.
winning wise, like winning money wise and stuff, it just wasn't. You know, it was probably the worst year I've had since that year I quit in like 2012, I think, whenever the Alabama rig year was, and I had to drop out because I ran out of money. You know.
Dang.
yeah, yeah,
Man, we
man.
definitely got to get you back on to hear that side of the story. But I mean,
Yeah,
more
we
than anything, dude, we just wanted to have you on. I mean, honestly, Brad came up with us. I mean, if you got somebody that's, you know, kind of going to be for the decision, we'd love to hear that perspective,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. No, I mean, Brad, the whole group of the NPFL, great guys. You know, I mean, they're like the guys you would go out and hang out with. You know, when you get
yeah.
off work or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's what's cool. I mean, you can call them guys whenever, and um, yeah, they do a great job. So I'm really looking forward to next year.
Heck yeah. So
Is
safe
it
to
going to
say
be a?
you're
Go ahead.
safe to say you're gonna be full on NPFL next year. Probably you're probably gonna fish everything
Ye-
like you do every year.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I'll probably do a little bit of everything. I think I might still mix a little bit of that redfish stuff in. I've never done it before, but
cool.
I only
Oh,
got
you're
to
being dead
see.
ass serious about that
Yeah,
redfish
yeah,
stuff,
I'm
ain't
dead
you?
ass serious about that. Yeah, like I thought about it, and like I got to see Keith twice, 2 weeks out of the entire year this year. when we were at, I think, Rayburn, and then when he won at St. Clair. So
Uh-oh.
it's just like, man, this would be an opportunity where we can actually fish a tournament together. So I think we're going to jump in some of those, and NPFL and probably Bassmasters, and see what
Dude,
happens.
you can jump in the Brandon Belt tournament series that we
Yeah,
fish. He's
yeah.
he's wide open, and it's for real money. It's for
Yeah,
real
no,
money.
I have looked at that. Actually, somewhere I was at, I saw him, and he was talking to somebody, and I really wanted to, talk to him about it, but I got all caught up, and might have been an ICAST or something. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's there.
yeah, he was
yeah,
there. Yeah, dude, I really am shocked that more guys are not coming to Brandon Belt fishing because he doesn't have a rule against it, and
right,
anybody, it's wide
Schedules are
open.
tough, man. Schedules is
The
probably the
scheduling,
biggest.
yeah, I understand that.
yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's hard. I mean, that's got to be one of the hardest thing as a tournament organization is trying to schedule
Mm.
just to keep them off everything, and like keep sponsors, because I mean it's just terrible to have a sponsor and then you guys are competing for viewership. It's just kind of
Yeah,
if I was that sponsor, I would be upset about. So it's just hard to try to get a schedule where everybody's off of each other.
Yep.
yeah, for sure. So is you think with this move? Well, you kind of alluded to it earlier, and I alluded to this as well earlier in the episode when Brad was on. Like these guys that that have been asking for this, are they going to come? Like, do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
mean, I think a lot of them will, but and if they don't, they can't. We shouldn't hear them complain anymore,
Well,
because here's their opportunity.
Yeah.
that's the way. That's the way I was at first too. I was like, well, put your money where your mouth is and come fishing. Then Brad made a good point. Like, well, they said they won't do it because of sponsors obligations, and they tried to talk to sponsors about
Oh yeah, yeah,
covering the NPFL, but they won't do it because they'd rather see him in the elites or they'd rather see him in the BPT. And like, I kind of get it from that point of view, but if you feel so strongly about it,
yeah.
I think you
I
could
mean,
find a
if
way.
you love bass fishing,
Yeah,
and especially how that they'll come fish it,
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
that'd be
excited
very
to see.
interesting. That'd be
Yeah.
very interesting.
I
I,
mean,
I
it'll be.
think,
2025 is
I think it'll be fun to watch just to see how they're going to play out. And I
Yeah.
think some of the young. I already got money on this. I think some of the young guys that we think they're like full on scoping and stuff. Some of them are going to stay and they're going to put it on us. Like they are going to catch them, and we're going to be like, well, it doesn't really matter. They're still going to catch them. So
Well, they're just
I
good.
kind of, I'm interested. I can't wait. It's going to be, I know we still have a couple events left, but it's
yeah,
going to be, I'm already looking forward to next year.
yeah,
Man.
dude. I know we'll be tuning in. A lot of people, a lot of fans will be tuning in, and yeah, it's gonna be really cool to see. I would say that there definitely would be some young guys that surprise some people, but on the flip side, there'll be some that absolutely don't do
Yeah.
Yeah.
very well without it
It's gonna
too.
be the
I think
year
there's
of
Yeah.
it's gonna be a year of the big John Cox for sure.
Oh,
dude, that
no.
shirt is wild. Dude, that
Yeah.
shirt's crazy.
You guys text me your addresses. I'll send you some.
Hell
Dude,
yes.
I will wear one. Okay. Careful what you wish
He said,
for.
okay.
All right. We're gonna wear one. Dude, we would love to have you back on. We're gonna turn you loose. It's so late at night. I got
Yeah.
a 7-year-old over here staring at me, telling me it's a school night. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
But-
sure. We got to get you on for a full episode. But we do appreciate the time you gave us for sure, man.
All right, guys. Anytime.
all right. Best of
All
luck
right.
the rest of the season. See you.
See you.
Jesus,
There
that
it
shirt's
is.
wild.
How about a special guest legend?
How about a
Mr.
shirt that says
Big
Big
John
Cox don't need
Cox.
live scope?
Jeez. Yeah, in case you didn't see that shirt, go back and watch it. COX. Big COX.
Oh man.
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna stop using
he's done a pretty good job of staying off social media and like getting in the debates and all that. But I mean, it's pretty clear the dude runs a Fortrex. He don't even have spot lock on us.
Yeah, dude's a monster. And like I said, he isn't the exception. He's the 1%. And I don't think he lets that stuff get in his head.
Man, he
on
wants to have
game day.
fun, dude. That's why he's one of the most interesting people to watch fishing, because he's always smiling, he's always having a good time.
Oh yeah. It looks like he doesn't even like try. It's like effortless. Like it's crazy. You remember that? You remember when he won on Rayburn and they his practice video for that tournament? He like Woke up
No.
late and they forgot to plug
Well,
the
yeah,
boat
I
in.
saw him at the stump on like official practice. It was like 9:00 in the morning. He's sitting there eating breakfast with his
Dude,
camera, dude. And I was like, what are you doing?
just living life,
And then he
bro.
goes and throws a frit side on like the most community area on Rayburn.
And wins the Derby. Oh man, that dude.
We
is-
got to have him back on, man. I think that I'm not gonna lie. You can ask why I was a little grumpy about this episode. I was like, I don't want to do this. It's stupid. Everybody's talking about this. I'm sick and tired of it. But I feel better now that we've done it. I feel like I like Brad Fuller, man. I like what he had to say. I know it's he's going to be a polarizing figure. NPFL is going to, whether you are or aren't FFSer. I mean, Wyatt and I both like it. I mean, honestly, the frustrating part for me as an angler is we've spent the last couple years really, we understood as soon as it came out. You better learn it and you better get good at it.
just like with anything else, when
I mean, it was a
when
dominant.
we went from a freaking what was that one Humminbird side imaging transducer that came out? Everybody was like, "Oh, it's so good," but it was compared to now, it was dog. But like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Oh yeah, back when the 1099s and 1098s.
Yeah. I knew at
side
that
imaging
time,
was 400, 800 kilohertz,
yeah,
whatever the frequency was.
I knew at that time, like, dude, I need to figure out an idle. I need to figure out
that
a
was
graph.
when the technology was like, all right, every year you gotta get the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
And when that thing came out, and what I was getting at is you and I have invested a lot of time understanding very quickly that in order to continue to progress, because we were doing well before it, and we knew we were trying to get better and better and better, and to do that we had to do this. We've invested so much time and effort into that, and money. I mean, look at me. I just ordered my new boat. My new skater will be in. I just ordered all my new Garmin stuff. I was scared to order 16s because there's rumors, all these, restrictions. And obviously that's not coming down to the team series yet. But, if I want to jump in an open, I don't want to have 4 16s and invest all this money. And you're going to tell me I can't use it when I've worked hard to get a relationship with Garmin, when I've, worked hard to get,
there's so many
clear power harness and stuff like that. That's
so many factors. The batteries to power all that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many factors. But thankfully, like you alluded to, really at our level, and really so far, it sounds like the Opens level, Toyota level, we will see. But so far, that stuff's not really going to affect us. But we will see what MLF does come out with. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now that they've kind of sat back and seen everybody announce they'll be coming with theirs very soon, and theirs will probably be a mixture in between because they like to do stuff like that. So they'll and we'll see, man. We'll see what the team stuff does about it. But for now, this is a freaking hour-and-a-half episode. We got to make sure to title this thing right to get them to come listen to.
I'm gonna upload it first thing in the morning, so you better send me a title.
We'll figure it out.
All right, man.
All right, man.